and then later on play random to learn the other races at a level where you can understand why everything is happening. We will have MechaGhidrah, the red Zerg, and he is in the top right position of this map with Oranges. Oranges is lying to us, though. He is a blue Terran, call himself Orange. I don't know if I agree with that. But, we will see how his deception works this time. I don't see any prop seeing happening, don't see any, low-level cheese, so that's always nice. Having macro gains at the lower levels, you will see a lot of mistakes, but at the same time, you will see a lot of improvement over time. We do have the 10 pool, though. Okay, so we do have 10 pool, and he is making the Overlord. Looks like there will be a little bit of a rush with Zerglings. You don't usually want to do that against Terran if they are going for a wall-off like they normally will against Zerg, just because you'll run straight into a wall 9 times out of 10 if they do get it up in time, which they probably should. He does also have gas on the way, could be going for a Reaper. He's actually going for a second gas, okay. Usually you don't want to get that second gas that early unless you're going for a very cheesy tech path. There's also no, okay, he does get the Queen. Pool is better timed at 15 or 16 with a 15 hatchery at your natural. But that is just the meta. Maybe going against the meta is a good thing. It is always nice to see a little bit of different play if it is done at a reasonable level, I suppose. I don't know how to word that like I'm trying to say, but we will just have the orbital on the way. We will have double gas being completely saturated, not a lot of minerals being mined here. That'll hurt the Terran. And the Queen coming out, that is actually the second Queen, but he does not have expansion on the way yet. That will start to hurt him because he is a Zerg player. Will also want to get an Overlord here soon. Excuse me. Keep like half burping. It's really weird. SCV does go down. That would be First Blood. That SCV going down. I don't see why it blows up when it's thrown. What are these talons? Just talons. And those burn and make the SCV blow up, apparently. I don't know. I don't understand it. But of course, that is also because I have a terrible computer in retrospect. Even though it does run StarCraft and streaming and it is only a laptop, I cannot run the higher models when I am streaming just because my computer can't handle it if we want a decent frame rate, especially in team games. So now that we have that out of the way, we do have the reactor on the way. And we do have the factory also on the way. We will see some Hellion play if all things remain sane. That's how we'll word it. Would like to see injets going down, and the expansion definitely needs to be taken. He is floating quite a few minerals, but so is Terran. So I guess they are kind of even in that regard. Terran not floating as much because he has a lot less workers on minerals. Or rather, 11 and 11. Okay, so they're the same on workers apparently, and 5 more drones are being made. That will definitely help his economy, but he needs to spend those resources. That will begin to hurt him because he's not making too much with the money he is making. The factory does switch over, though. We will see Hellions here soon. I would assume maybe some form of Widow Mines, but there go the Hellions as per usual. And that's actually, I mean, it takes a few leads to learn games or learn build orders. There we go. So I am kind of surprised to see that at this bronze level, but hey, more power to him. And the Zerg still getting more queens, spreading his creep pretty nicely. Creep spread is always a wonderful thing to do for vision, for speed, for everything. Definitely like to see that going down. And the second gas going down for the Zerg. Usually you don't want to do that on one base, but hey, whatever, who cares? Do you have the Evo chamber going down? The queen does pop out. There are 3 queens here. And just speeding this up a bit because the Hellions are finally coming in over here. And 3 queens will block them very easily. They are just going to take the fight against the queens. That's not very effective. The Overlord getting hit by the Marine, getting tickled a bit, and now it does run away. Don't run back into the Marine. Okay, we should be good. Or not. Or not. Please move the Overlord. Okay. These Hellions trying to sneak around for something or other, but the queens will, I mean, if you can just keep 2 queens here on hold position and they will wall off that ramp very effectively. More drones being made, and he does want to saturate that second gas if he decides if he's going for a layer on one base. Definitely don't want to be going for a layer on one base, but That is all in retrospect. Combat shields on the way for Terran. Usually you see Stim first. Starport also on the way. He will have a half-decent timing for this. He knows a build order, it seems, but he doesn't know how to implement it worth a crap. He is just going to run away with 3 Hellions, and he did lose 2 of them, so he actually only has the one with very, very low health. And he will just go back to macroing, but he's not really macroing, so there's that. Does also have the supply drop at the front. You only go for a very early supply drop if you are going for some form of all-in. I think it used to be a 3 rats all-in that used a supply drop, and once you saw that as like a Protoss player or something, you knew your day was going to be bad very quickly unless you responded perfectly. This gas never being used is a bit of an issue. He might be moving drones over to it now. There they go. And he is moving the correct amount. Always nice to see. Command center coming out for Terran, and the hatchery for Zerg is on the way. It is almost halfway done. Will be well protected by those queens, seeing as how there's only a handful of Marines and a siege tank now in production, though. That is always nice to see. We do have +1 weapons for the Zerg as well as Infestation Pit on the way. And we will possibly see a quick hive. That would be a very quick hive, though. We'll see how he manages to spend his money. Banshee on the way, Cloaking on the way, and Stim also started those Terran upgrades, all of them being very efficient, especially that Cloaking on the Banshee when there's going to be no detection for our Zerg player, though he will have a lair, and that will make sure, as well as the Overlord speed, making sure that his Overseers, once he mates them, will be able to get where they need to be very quickly. I'm very surprised he didn't put another building here, now that I think about it. Could have put any production building right there and he would have been fine. But instead of letting to just build new add-ons, I don't know if I agree with that. Engineering bay going down right here. He will have to fly this starport if he wants to put an add-on on it. Just a little bit of retrospect for you right there. The hive is started, but it does take quite a long time. I believe 100 seconds, correct? Yes, 100 seconds to get that hive, an entire base worth of time to form, and it is quite the jump in tech, especially because he only has 1/1 upgrades off of 1 Evo chamber. Unless he goes for a very fast Ultra or something, I don't see what the hive will really do for him. Making more drones, though, would like to see these gases taken so he can help spend his 2,000 minerals, just because you need the gas to spend them effectively. Otherwise, you can really only buy Zerglings, and yeah, they're kind of cool for these these surrounds and these run-bys, but they are not the most effective unit in the world. And they will run into siege chains and Marines, but the siege chains are not sieged. He can't, I mean, he could run around and just snipe the tanks, and that would be a good engagement, or a good trade for him. But what is he going to do? Terran moves back, and now he's inside of Terran's base. This is not walled off. Just go up into the main, please. No, trying to hit the natural, going after the workers. That's actually a pretty good idea. Terran is at, or has lost 3 workers. He is at a total of 25 compared to 35 drones, which will give our Zerg player the better economy at the end of things, and more Marines, siege tanks, and Banshees being produced. This will actually be a somewhat annoying army to take care of. 2 Banshees flying across the center. They do have cloak. There are no spore crawlers rather on the way. The Ultralist Cavern is down, though. He will have gas for about 2 to 3 Ultralists by the time that comes out, so that will be nice to use. He will need Overlords, though, to have that supply room. Tanks are sieged up on creep. We don't see any stand going down on these tumors until now, and he will see exactly what he's up against. This Terran army looks like he could easily take this out, but there are +1 upgrades for our Zerg player. He does have the 1/1, which will make his Zerglings that much more effective. The siege chains do get in range to start hitting the spine crawler, I believe. There they go, the scan helping them give that extra vision. You could transfuse it, or not. Okay, and I don't really suggest that you get the +1 range because you don't really need it at this point, especially if you are going for Ultralist. Hopefully we see those starting to come out soon, but you are supply bot. 3 Overlords are on the way. The entire lot of Zerglings have died, but if Ultralist came out, everything would be okay. And actually the Zerglings with the siege tank friendly fire, taking out almost all of the Marines. 1 of the Banshees very low as well. 4 Ultralists are on the way, and 3 Queens can take out the Banshees if the Ultralists can take care of the ground. A couple of Marines and another siege tank coming up here to support this army, but it probably won't be enough. and something was just taken out. I think that might have been another queen. Two of the queens taken out. There's only one left, one in the main as well, but there's no detection over here. An overseer has been started and does have that carapace to make them faster. I believe that's what it's called, the pneumonic carapace or something like that. Pneumatic? I don't know. Problem is all the queens are dead, so he just still doesn't have anything to really kill this. Spores are attempting to be made. Doesn't have any in the natural, though. That is a bit of an issue in case that the Banshees just kind of come back down. Don't move your Ultilis to the main. Just send them at this army. There they go. They do have the extra upgrades. No chitinous, though. Just send them in. This is kind of hard to watch. Just send the Ultilis in. They're taking so many free hits for no reason. Okay, they are on the siege chains. The siege chains will die very quickly, and then the Marines will soon follow suit. More Marines coming down, but they won't live very long either. The Banshee's doing a lot of damage. This Ultilis does have 7 kills. Here comes the Overseer, but it can't really do anything. And there, he's actually hitting the Banshee with full health. That's not very effective. There's still an Ultilis over here. Would like to see that used. This one is going to not kill the tank. Okay. Here comes this Ultilis, though. It will take out these Marines, and not this. The siege tank lives still. That's a bit of an issue, especially if it sieges right here. But instead, he's just going to keep hitting the natural. Another Ultilis could be made. There goes the siege mode, and we'll start hitting those drones now, which those drones will die very quickly, but could actually surround the siege tank. It has no support over here. Hydra started of all things. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, just because the siege tank's being on the field. One Ultilis also on the way. It will easily take care of the Marines, but sending 17 drones on your gas will not. Just 3 Marines at a time coming down, and Terran could have so much more production at this time. He can make more Banshees, more siege chains, to have a lot of barracks out right now. Could be taking a third base if he just had the worker count. He also only has 4 patches in his main base that he's mining from. He's not moving those workers, so they are completely useless at this point. Another Overseer being made, 4 Hydralists on the way, as well as that Ultralist. That will give him plenty of defense against this army that is coming his way, trying to take out the infestation pit, it looks like. He does see the Overseer, but not shooting that down. Instead of shooting down random Overlords, and he is actually targeting down these Overlords. Here comes the Ultralist, though, so these Marines will die a very, very bloody death. There goes one of them, rather. And now this Ultralist not running down here. With the help of the Hydralist, it easily could take out everything. The Hydralists are just going to run to the side, though. Oh, they do take out the Banshee. You have to go. You have to go now. You are already in a very bad spot. Here comes the Queens as well. And an Ultralist is actually going to die due to the siege tank, probably. Maybe not, actually. Oh! No, Ultralist! And there it goes. Okay. But Queens and Hydras over here will take out Banshees and Marines any day of the week. Or actually, there is stealth again. But they will take out the siege tank at least, which will be a nice pickup. He is going to lose a few units to this, though, but it does move over to the range of the Overseer, I believe. But yes, there it goes. These Marines focusing down the Queen means the Hydralist that can just do its damage. And now Terran is actually down in supply. We will see how Zerg responds to this. The Hydra speed upgrade is on the way. You can long-distance mine with all your idle drones here. Yeah, it's not as efficient, but it's better than nothing. I believe anybody could agree with that. Not a lot of production coming out from Terran, still only on a few buildings. We'd definitely like to see more. Banshee's trying to get into the main, but that's not going to work. All the drones have been set to work, and he will have a nice income at the end of the day. This base is back to its maximum mining capacity. More of the SCVs were transferred over here, I believe, and a few more just working on buildings like this one. More barracks being produced is always a nice thing for Terran. Making sure he has a nice Marine count to handle whatever Zerg throws at him. We'll speed this up just a bit. I don't know what Zerg really is planning to do. You have so much money, you want to spend that, and you want to get injets off so that way you have the larva to spend it. +2 armor is on the way. He does have the +2 range queued up. Don't want to queue things up. The +1 Terran vehicles is on the way. The +2 for his bio is on the way. The 3rd command center also on the way in a very, very strange location. Never build it out here. It's not going to be safe out there. You could build it either at the 3rd or in your main and then fly it. Either is much better. And that Banshee going to actually go down by that last hit. So there will be siege chains and Marines here. and with medevac support could actually do a lot of damage. One Ultralisk is on the field. It will tank quite a few shots if it does get up there, and yes, it is dealing with the siege chains and making this bio army actually retreat. The Hydralisk dealing so much damage, and it looks like the transfuse also goes off. He needs to move the rest of his army up there, and he could have taken out a couple of those medevats as well. That is not the case though, but he does hold that push very easily. Excuse me. So in a good spot for Zerd, also starting his third base. That will finish up here soon. So that is a much better spot than what he was at moments ago. Would like to see him start moving out possibly, since he knows he has a nice army against what Terran is doing. And there he goes possibly. There he goes. No, okay. The power of song. Yes, I said that is not going to be effective today. We'll have the +2 armor for Terran on the way, chitinous plating on the way. We'll give those Ultralists a total of 5 armor. They do start with 1, so that will leave them very tanky against those Marines. Even if the Marines do have the +2, it will still not be dealing a lot of damage there. We'll have factories on the way, and he's actually queuing up factories. You don't want to queue up upgrades, and you don't want to queue up buildings. Like this SCV is now queued up to make 4 supply depots, when you could have just taken these SCVs that aren't doing anything and either had them mining or made supply depots. Make a wall of supply depots over here. Something like that would have been a lot more effective. I don't know what Zerd is doing. He's not really making anything. He was supply blocked, I believe. Thor's on the way, Marauder on the way with that concussive grenades. Concussive shells do not do anything to Ultralisk though, because Ultralisk are berserking, I believe. Frenzied. They are frenzied. Upgrades finishing for Zerd though, and I would hope that he starts something. A lot of Ultralisk are on the way. Could make some more Hydras, but he is supply blocked yet again. Do want to fix that ASAP. We do have the +2 vehicle weapons on the way. We do have the +2 armor finishing up. Terran would like to start his tier 3 upgrades here soon, I would assume. Zerg having a nice little army, hopefully moving out soon for the sake of all things. +3 for his melee has started as well. And here he goes, moving out now, or just taking a ramp. Moving out very slowly. Now spreading creep. Creep spread is always nice. Does have this creep tumor going over here too. And 1 creep tumor isn't bad, but it's always nice to have more, even though I will spread my creep with only a handful of tumors myself. I just always forget to plant more. But that is just a retrospect thing that we like to look at. And I would hope that that money is spent. He has his larva selected, doesn't have the supply room yet again. You can just mass overlords. You have so many minerals, and you need to work on injets. 4th base for Terran is going down. He only is going to have Marines, and he saw Ultralisk. He's going to have Marines, a single Marauder, and a couple of Thors. Thors deal a nice amount of damage, but they won't take on Thors, or they won't take on Ultralisk rather. It's just not going to work out in their favor. The 3-3 for Terran is halfway done though, and the +3 for his vehicles is also on the way. He does keep slowly moving with this creep. Would like to see the attack actually happen here soon though. Hopefully that will come soon. He just likes to stay on the creep though, which is perfectly fine. And see, that creep does spread very quickly when you are having more tumors with it. Instead, Polling Bat though, not too sure why, not spending any of his money. And the Terran just getting upgrades. He's not maxed out, but he doesn't feel like making any more units because he's pro. And he might be moving up top. No, killing off an Overlord. There it goes. And the Zerd will engage on this. He is on creep, and a lot of Ultralisk are at the front. They are being focused down, but they deal so much damage to these Marines. The Hydra is starting to do DPS as well, and the Ultralisk are just cutting through everything. There aren't a lot of them left, though. Actually, still 5 of them over here. I thought they were cut down. I couldn't see them underneath the medevats, and they will actually power through. Still 3 of them surviving. The transfusions going down, keeping them alive for that much longer, and the Terran army is gone. He does have Marines in production. He does have the 3-3 finish, but it won't matter. Zerd, just move out. Just attack. Don't just sit back, please. Like, it hurts. We have a couple of Marines making. This is the case when you see so many Marauders where you would just go, or you see so many Archalists that you would go Mass Marauder or close to Mass Marauder just because they are so much more effective. They deal, what, 24 or 26 damage instead of 9? And then you have to take into consideration how much damage is neglected by armor. So Marines doing basically nothing unless they are in a giant mass, and even then the Archalists can cut through them like they did in that last fight. And we need to see an engagement here soon while Zerg has the advantage. Definitely want to push those advantages instead of just pushing the creep. Would be a lot more interesting. Just in retrospect, 5 Archalists on the way, 3 more Hydralists on the way as well. Battlecruiser of all things have been started, and this is the wrong way to handle this in every regard. This is just no. Battlecruisers don't deal a lot of damage to Ultralist, and Hydralist will destroy your Battlecruiser, especially when they have that +3 upgrade and the Battlecruisers have no armor upgrades. He does have 5 of them in production though, and 5 Battlecruisers is an amount to deal with. But it's a very easy amount to deal with at the same time with as many Hydralists as he does have. He does have 17, and the Archalists would just cut through everything else. Terran has put his entire investment into the air, also getting the attack upgrade, but it won't be enough. And the third base for Terran does go down. He does have this third up here, though, or well, it was his fourth, now being his third. We will see Zerg fall back again. Not too sure why. Just kind of letting the opponent macro up a bit. You don't want to do that, especially when he is going battlecruisers, but there's not really any scouting going on, so nobody knows what's going on. The Ultralists do move in here. The battlecruiser is seen. Hydralists need to get in position so that way they are all attacking units rather than buildings, but the Ultralists have gotten to the Marines, and they are just tearing through them. The Hydralists have started hitting the first battlecruiser. That goes down. They are going to move in towards the second one as well. Transfusion's going down on this Ultralist, keeping him alive for a very long time, and the Hydralist still hitting the battlecruiser, and Blue does call the GG and does leave the game. Good game from MechaGhidrah. Would have liked to have seen that happen a very long time ago, but either way you did win at the end of the day. Could have seen upgrades a little bit sooner, could have seen your natural come out a lot sooner. Definitely look into 15 hatch builds just because it is a lot more efficient, can still hold off basically any pressure if you do it correctly. Kratzy 2 rats being a bit of an issue if that does happen, but that's a full-on cheese that you would have needed to scout. Other than that, I would suggest that as an opening, but you did out macro this Terran player, so for that we thank you, and thank you for the replay.